Those allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, this time from ActionSA's MP Dereleen James. Dereleen, good evening to you. Welcome to the program. Thanks for your time. Your reaction as a party?
I'm disgusted, but I cannot say that we are surprised. I think what is refreshing for us is that the fact that you have a SAPS member, a general, calling out other generals, may this spark sort of a trend within SAPS to speak out against their fellow SAPS members who are committing crime for years on end. We've had so many of these reports coming to the Portfolio Committee, and the only sort of punishment that they get is either they get promoted or they get moved to different stations, but we never see any outcomes. I'm not even sure at this stage if we're going to see a positive outcome, an outcome that will be pleasing to South Africans, because we know that the various task teams gets deployed and that's where it ends. But I want to make an appeal to South Africans to keep their finger on this, as well as the media. We need to keep on pressing, not for statements, but for an arrest.
Let's anchor what you've said, Dereleen, around reports coming in. People, instead of being punished, are promoted or rewarded for alleged wrongdoing. What do you have in mind when you say that to South Africans?
Just not so long ago, we had a policeman in the Western Cape who was caught with a state vehicle transporting drugs from one area to the next, and that police person was just redeployed to a different station. We've seen serious generals that has cases of pornography involving GBV being given transfers and sort of being rewarded for their crimes. So I am not too sure where this is going to leave us. We've had state capture that embroiled so many top-notch officials, big wigs. Today, where has that brought us? Absolutely nowhere. But we've been waiting for this. Like I said earlier on, Iman, what is so refreshing about this, it's the fact that, because this is a never heard of before, this is a new precedent that's been set. You know what? For SAPS members to speak out against fellow SAPS members, this is refreshing, and I'm almost sure, and I'm hoping that a can of worms has been opened. We've seen a couple of weeks ago where several crime intelligence members were arrested, and I can tell you what was so shocking. Despite them being arrested, being granted bail, I actually saw a letter a couple of days later where the very person that was arrested then had an opportunity to appoint someone else in his position. So I'm not sure how that works.
Dereleen, what you're saying in characterizing Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's statements today was that this was an audacious move. You say it's never been before heard of. It is refreshing. But we have to also consider what it takes for someone to do this, to raise their head above the parapet, without having gone to their bosses or the DNC or the National Commissioner. What does that tell you about the state of control and the state of play within SAPS in general? What are you concerned about when you see that?
Right now, I'm just concerned about his safety. General Mkhwanazi is not the first member, basically, who has highlighted, but I think he's just used a different platform. He's had the backbone to actually come up face-to-face with South Africans, and I don't think anyone that doesn't have anything tangible would actually risk his entire reputation, his career, to come out and speak so confidently to South Africans. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I've said it all morning. But like I'm saying, right now, we need to look after this general until such time this case is concluded. I'm not sure how long this is going to take. This morning, ActionSA has written, straight after we heard the news, ActionSA has written to the Speaker's office so that we can have an urgent parliamentary debate on this. Not a debate so that we can just debate and it goes nowhere, but we'd like to hear from other political parties, and we'd like to have other political parties basically strengthening calls for the immediate arrest of those involved in any form of corruption or crime.
When you say immediate arrest, I mean, we already have some big names. There's a triumvirate of M's. That is the Police Minister, Mkhwanazi. That is we understand, the businessman or associate, Brown Mkhwanazi. We've got the person, Vusimusi, as well, who's been named as being part of this, corruption collective, if I want to term it that way. Are you asking for the arrests of all of these individuals, Dereleen?
We've seen previously how people get arrested and then they tell us, no, we are still investigating the cases. So right now, based on the evidence, based on the facts that was tabled early on this morning, and like General Mkhwanazi says, that he has facts, he has proof of what has happened, surely him as a general would know what is enough and what are grounds for an immediate arrest. And that is what we're calling on as South Africans.
Are you concerned about a cover-up now? I mean, we've heard from
Definitely.
Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya. He's really dismissed these allegations, and if anything, with regard to those 121 dockets, was saying that he was instructed by the National Police Commissioner, and this is Fani Masemola, who we've tried to reach out to, and we haven't heard back immediately. I'm hoping that we will, but also, that he had basically saying he's had nothing to do with this, and he was shocked and surprised when his name was mentioned.
No, everyone's always been shocked and surprised in that portfolio committee. They sit in that portfolio committee with candid faces when we bring heinous cases to their attention. So I'm not surprised at the response by General Sibiya. But what I do want to say is right now, if we don't act swiftly and if media doesn't keep their eye on this case, I can tell you the backdoor cooking is happening as we speak.
Dereleen, we've seen you, before your rise to MP, work in communities riven by drugs and crime. You've had long-standing issues with the station commander at Eldorado Park Police Station, for example. When you think about what we've heard today versus what we see in communities like those in Eldorado Park, what do you think the impact is of such claims and serious allegations?
The trust deficit between community and SAPS has just been broadened times 10. I think this just leaves us feeling as communities want to funny us. You've seen over the past weekend, even today, 3 people were gunned down in the Western Cape. Mitchell's Plain has been a bloodbath since last week Friday. More than 16 people shot. I asked myself, where is crime intelligence? Crime intelligence has been suspended, and now you have the minister as well as national commissioners responsible for heinous crimes in this country, embroiled in heinous crimes. So where does that leave South Africans? Basically, we are on our own. It is a state of emergency. What has happened today is shocking to all South Africans, but I cannot also say that we didn't see this coming. At some point or the other, the cookie was going to crumble.
All right, Dereleen, as we say, I mean, even though these claims were made by the provincial police commissioner, as with every claim that's made in the country, even if it's coming from a provincial commissioner, it's got to go through the courts and it's got to stand the test, the evidentiary test. So I just wanted to kind of note that. Thanks for your time this afternoon, this evening. We really do appreciate it. ActionSA MP Dereleen James.